How's it going, everyone? We are back again for week 4 of the most important position in the game. That is kickers. We got Denny here. How's it going, Denny?
Hey, look, you're right. I can't argue with you. It is the most critical position, so let's go. Yeah.
I mean, in some senses, when you're on FanDuel and someone has that puts up 17 against you with a kicker, it kind of is the most important. It kind of is at that point because that's pretty demoralizing.
No, that hurts. Like when you say you do well in like a tournament, right? And you get a little cash, but then you look at the kickers who went berserk and your guy has 4, I mean that stings.
It really does. So let's get into it. Week 4, top priced guy here that you're looking at is Justin Tucker against Oakland. What are you seeing there?
Yeah, so last week I mentioned Tucker as the high price play on FanDuel for week 3. He came through with 17 fantasy points against the Jaguars. I think we'll continually recommend Tucker for several reasons, and one of them has to do with the correlation that we talk about sometimes, often in this segment, between passing yardage, passing production, and kicker fantasy points. They correlate really well. And what do we have with Baltimore? We have a team that can't run, right? They throw a ton, and now they get perhaps, well, by some measures, the worst secondary in the NFL, in the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders have given up 2.3 field goal attempts per game over the first 3 weeks. That's in the bottom 10 in the league. And so there are a bunch of reasons why, including the Raiders, get this. This kind of shocked me. The Raiders have given up 1,034 passing yards this season.
It's
3 weeks.
It's been really ugly, and you put it perfectly with the Ravens. They literally can't run the ball. No. I mean, they have to throw. So, I mean, as you said with Justin Tucker, a few weeks ago, I think this is a perfect early season situation for him where, he is high priced, but yeah, that Oakland defense, man, they've just been awful.
Look, and the Ravens, they don't have a great implied total from Vegas, but it's 24.75, which is 1, 2, 3. That's 6th most among home teams this week. So, it's not hateful. I think that Tucker is going to be in this space a lot, and mentioned on this segment a lot as the high price guy to go after.
Certainly agree there. And yeah, among, offenses that are in the top 6 or so in implied totals, they certainly have the worst run game. So yeah, definitely like that call. And we did a little swerve this week, or you did, and I think we should talk about that for a second. You did more low-priced options than really sort of settling for some mediocre mid-tier options, and I think we all kind of go through this when we open up the slate and look at certain positions. Some weeks are just, you kind of put your hands up and say, I don't see much here, and I'm not forcing it. So what do you think about this week?
Yeah. I was telling you before the segment that I looked at 2 or 3 mid-priced options for FanDuel this week, and I just didn't find anybody who met the criteria that we're looking for. And so instead of forcing that mid-priced option, I offered 3, what I think are really good low-priced guys. We'll start off with Josh Lambo, who we mentioned last week, of course, during the segment. I said play Franks over Lambo, and then Lambo goes berserk against Indy, and Franks, I think, squeaked out like 5 points, 6 points. So that didn't work out. But Lambo, the Chargers get the Saints this week. They have the highest implied total. He's still at minimum price, which kind of blows my mind, right? I mean, I would think that he would go up a little bit. The Saints also allow 2 points, like the Raiders, they allow 2.3 field goals per game. And the secondary, as we've seen, is porous. So I believe, and porous is a very nice word.
That was the nicest thing anyone said about them in at least a month. It is bad right now, and I just think this Chargers team, we kind of love Phillip Rivers in these types of matchups because he's just going to dink and dunk his way, and then eventually give up a 3-and-out. So I think this is a great matchup. Should be really high scoring. And I mean, if any of you watched the Falcon Saints game in prime time, if you weren't watching the debates, it was just embarrassing. I mean, I know they have a few injuries, but yeah, I think we're going at Lambeau with the Saints defense here.
Right. Well, both the debate and the Monday Night Football game were embarrassing for different reasons.
Oh,
Of course.
yes, very much so.
So Lambeau, just for reference about what he's done this season, he has 9, 8, and 11 fantasy points so far this season over 3 games. So he's getting opportunity, and that's all we're looking for. Lambeau is my preferred low price kicker. Nick Novak is another guy I'm targeting. I'm actually struggling between saying a Novak and the third guy I'm going to mention here. But Novak, I can almost guarantee you will have minuscule, microscopic ownership on FanDuel this week, seeing that the Houston offense, was a complete and total debacle last week against New England. Didn't score a point. In fact, I was looking at Novak's stats and I was going, "Where's week 3?" What happened in week 3? Is Novak hurt? I actually Googled it. I was like, Nick Novak injury on Google, and nothing came up, thankfully. But he's minimum price, obviously. And in the season's first 2 weeks, he combined for 25 fantasy points before that disaster at New England. So they're playing Tennessee. Tennessee gives up a bunch of field goal attempts per game. 3 actually, which is in the bottom 5. So it should be all signs point to Novak having opportunity this week.
So I like this call, and I think people are going to be on maybe the Texans like a little bit. I think that's a good play either way, because you kind of look at, again, you mentioned that Patriots debacle. I think people are going to be a little wary of that. But the kicker, I bet, is going to just get swept under the rug here. And I don't think people are going to be on him at all because of that last performance. But yeah, no, that's definitely a great point. And I mean, min price against this Titans team, who's just been not good. They've been getting away with it, but I really think you could play the Texans D and Novak and come out looking pretty good by the end of it.
Yeah. And, I think Novak might be a really sneaky GPP play because, like I said, I mean, who's going to pick him up this week? I can't imagine he'll have more than like 1%, right, ownership.
Yeah. And I mean, that offense wasn't looking horrible before they, met up with Bill Belichick. So right. I kind of like it.
Yes.
Last one you mentioned here. So, and we're going down with a ship together, or we're riding across the world this week with Washington. You mentioned Dustin Hopkins, another min-price guy. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, look, it's against Cleveland. The Washington is favored by 9 points. They have one of the highest team totals. Second highest, only to San Diego, 26.25. They're going to score points, period. And the best thing about Hopkins, and we've seen him put up really nice numbers so far, actually. I'm looking for them right now, and I can't. Oh, well, he has 11 field goal attempts in 2016, and that shouldn't come as too much of a shock to us, since Washington can only throw and actually has moved the ball, pretty much at will through the air. It's just in the red zone they can't convert. So he has that going for him. I know the Browns. I know we picked on the Browns last week with Franks, but I trust the process. I think I like Hopkins more than Novak.
So it's funny you bring that up, because I had to do some of the red zone work for DFC this week, and Cousins just stands out so blatantly at the top. He's tied for second in red zone passing attempts. And he's just been horrible this year. It's been awful. So I certainly think, I think they're going to be able to move the ball. But if that continues, I think Hopkins in a super high upside spot here. So
yeah. I think that so Novak has a floor, I believe. But I think that Hopkins could, like you said, have the ceiling, like the best ceiling here. I also think that he'll be highly owned as far as minimum price kickers go.
Certainly. Yeah. And I think, I think Lambo might get a little more too, but Novak, I think that's a really sneaky call for sure.
Yeah.
Is there any other kicker notes or knowledge you got for us, or are those really the four you're sticking with?
I think that's it. It is a low price week, and I'm having a tough time justifying spending more than that minimum $4,500 on a kicker this
Mhm.
week.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you. And if you are, I think we're looking at Justin Tucker here. So
Absolutely.
thanks for coming on, Denny. Thanks to the viewers for tuning in. We are on to week 4, and we will see you guys in week 5.